Hi everybody. As promised, here is a video of the first homework assignment, writing the code. So in the last video, I talked to you a little bit about um, what we were doing with converting temperature scales. And in this video, I'm going to start at the beginning with MATLAB. And the code that I wrote. So I was successful in getting the code written. As I told you in class, I have never worked with MATLAB at all, so it did take me several iterations and an email to Dr. Floyd to get everything squared away, but I got her done. So I'll show you what I did. All right, the first thing I did, you see, I got my program. I'm using MATLAB Online, which I have a 30-day free trial for, from matlab.mathworks.com. When you go to this website, you can sign up for your own 30-day free trial, and then you have access to the software. And the screen that you get looks like this. I'm going to broaden out the view so that you can see a little bit more. There we go. And some of the windows. But basically, the way it works is that these are the programs that I wrote. And you can see I have homework, final maybe, homework 1 first try, homework try number 2, homework try 2 with no output, and so forth. So I had several iterations before I came up with my working model, which is homework 2 after help from Ray. Okay, so it was that. So what I'm pointing out here is just that I had at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 iterations of the program before it actually worked. So what I did was I started with sort of this little piece of code. And this is actually, if you recall, this is what Dr. Floyd gave us in class in his PowerPoint. So this was the starting point for where I was in terms of how I was going to write the code, because since I was unfamiliar with the syntax, I just thought I would start with his and then, of course, allow it to tell me where I was wrong. And it did a really good job. It helped me quite a bit. So in Dr. Floyd's PowerPoint, the slide that we used looked like this. Okay, so this is actual code that you put into MATLAB. You can see that he's got his MATLAB program up and that this is an untitled document. So a couple of things I'd like to point out that I learned. Anything that starts with a % sign is just a comment. That's just for you. So MATLAB is not going to evaluate those statements. They just put it in as code. So here you would put your name, homework number 1, and then whatever email you prefer to get your stuff to. Now what this is doing here is it's saying input, it's declaring a variable. And if you remember, what we're doing is we're converting between 4 different types of temperature, Fahrenheit, centigrade or Celsius, Kelvin, and Rankine. So what it's saying is whatever input it is, we're going to have this variable type S, which I think is a string. So the thing that's in single quotes here is what the computer program will ask you. It says input from the from temperature type, and then input the from temperature value. So here you would put in one of those 4 letters, F, K, C, or R, and then here you would put in the value. For example, if you put in F and it was 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that would convert 32 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees centigrade, degrees Kelvin, and degrees Rankine. Okay, now if type F, this is this loop structure that we saw a little bit on the flowchart that Dr. Floyd wrote for us. What it's doing is it's looking in, and if you have an F, it calculates the other 3 types of temperature. If it's C, it calculates the other types of temperature, and then you would drop down again if it was an R or if it was a K. And the order doesn't matter. It's just that you need to make sure that if you have F, that you're calculating R, K, and C. If you have C, that you're calculating R, K, and F, and so forth. So you're always calculating the ones that you don't have. All right, so going back to my program, this is the version that did not work. All right, and I'll show you what it looks like when it doesn't work. So I have some comments, I have some input, and you can see it looks almost exactly like Dr. Floyd's, except I put in those formulas. And something I did learn, which was really handy, once you calculate C, for example, right here, which is degrees Celsius, you can use that. In other words, it knows this value and it'll just plug it in right there. So I didn't have to alter the equations, just I got to use really simpler forms of the equation. I also did find, though, that this slash mark, in other words, I interpreted that as being divided by 1.8. That didn't work. So I multiplied by the reciprocal, which is 0.555 instead, when I had a finished product. But let me show you what it looks like when it doesn't work and what you do to see that it doesn't work. Okay, so up here on the top, first of all, when you write a program like this, you want to save it, and then it will come up on one of the tabs like this. So if you want to try to make it work, you go Run, and down here, I can't make my box big enough to show everything. I don't know why. All right, but here's the message that comes out. It says error, homework 1, first try, .m, line 12, column 1. So I come down here, line 12, column 1. There's something wrong here, and I don't even remember what it was. So I went to my next program, which was homework try number 2, and I tried to run that. And all it does is it comes up with the word homework try 2. So in other words, it was kind of working, but there's something missing and it's not coming out with any input or output. So so why bother even running the program, right? Because you're not getting anything. Okay, so then I try homework 2 with no output. Now see, look right here. This one tells me input the temperature type. So I click here. I'm going to try to type in the letter F. And it tells me input the value. I can just pick something 32, and then it doesn't give me any output. Okay, so in other words, my input was going in, my output is not coming out, so I knew I was doing something wrong there as well. Okay, so then I come over to my next version of the program, homework 2, no output after raise help. I actually had to write to Dr. Floyd to find some information, and I'll put that up in just a moment. But let's see, if I try to run this program, okay, it tells me enter the temperature type. I'll try F, and then it says input the temperature value. I'll try, it doesn't matter, 212, and oh, now I get some values. Okay, so it says for value, it gives, but see, it's not correct. You see how this is F 212, it gives me an F of this value and a C of this value and a K of this value. So I went up here and I said, if F equals value, what is going on? All right, so I told it the names of the variables, but then down here, I told it to display the 3 variables. And something went wrong in that, and something's wrong in the calculation. That's when I figured out that this slash 1.8 did not mean divide by 1.8 as far as MATLAB was concerned. And I also felt like my display, I thought, well, if I'm putting in values of F, I really want to only display values of C, K, and R. If I'm putting in values of C, I only wanted to display values of F, K, and R. So I thought I'm going to construct that a little bit differently. So I went to this next version of the program that I wrote, and here you can see that I still have that slash in there. I have the displays. I've changed that display to talk about like what I said. So let's see what happens this time. Type the input temperature in the type, let's say C, and then the input value, that would be degrees centigrade, let's say 100, and see what happens. Okay, it says that R is 0, K is 6, and F is this. I know that is incorrect. So that's when I realized I'm getting output now, and I'm getting the output that I want, but there's just something amiss. All right, so let's come over here. I think I showed you that one already, and I don't think that worked properly either. So maybe this is the final. All right, so here I changed it a little bit, and this is where I said, okay, I don't think my C is working where I'm dividing by 1.8, so I multiplied by 0.555 instead. Then I have my displays. What I did here was I broke it down so that every time I go into a segment of the loop. So in other words, for F, I put in the 3 equations for C, K, and R, and then I display C, K, and R. Then the next part, else if, just means, okay, so if it's F, do this. If it's not F, but it's C, do this. So I have the three equations and the 3 displays, else if R. So in other words, if it's not, it drops through here, the logic drops through, it goes F, nope, C, nope, R, yep, here it is. So I have the 3 formulas, F, C, and K, and the display for F, C, and K. And then last but not least, if I have a value of K, drops through and calculates R, C, and K and displays R, K, and C. Then it says else end. So in other words, if it's not one of those 4 things, just dump the program. So let's see what happens. All right, so here it says input the temperature value, or input the, I didn't do that right. Let me try again. Okay, input, oh, I know what happened. Okay, what happened was if you look up here on my first line, I've got something weird here. All right, let me try it again. Line 8, value input the temperature value. So I got something going on here. Let's see what happens if I put in 32. Yeah, if I put in 32 degrees, it's got some really funky values. Okay, so I think this is the one. Let's try this one. Input the temperature type, F. Oh, I know what's wrong with this, 32. Okay. And see, it comes out with F, so that one's not right. Let's see about this one. Run. Temperature type, oh, I remember, F. 32. 491. K is 273, C is 0. Okay, this one actually is the one that works. Homework, try to output after raise help. This was the last piece of information I had. When I put in the value, whether it's F, C, K, or R, I have to put it in as a capital value or else it doesn't recognize it. So let's try it again. I did an F. Let's see if a C works. Temperature type, capital C. Input the temperature value, let's just say 100, see what we get. K is 378, R is 671, F is 212. So those are correct values based on my touch points on the temperature scales. Okay, so this only has 2. I only did F and C on this. So let me see what's going on here. This is the one that should have all of them. This should have F, C, R, and K. All right, so let me see what's wrong here. Let me try an F, input the temperature type, F. Let's say 32. And does it come out? Yeah, this one comes out. Okay, so I have K, R, K is 273. Okay, so that one works. Let me try and run it again. See, you've been logged out. Okay, I don't know why. Because I'm logged into another MATLAB session. Okay, well, the point is it kind of works. It does work. There's a little bit of glitchy something going on there, but I don't think it's with my program. I think it is with my online system. I don't think it wanted to keep working with me. So at any rate, that's sort of the iterative process for trying to work out all of these values. And let's see if we can do one more just for kicks. Okay, I'm going to try and enter a K value, in other words, a degrees Kelvin, and see if that's going to work. So I'm going to run. It says input the temperature type. I'm going to say K. And then we know that water boils at 373 degrees K, more or less. Let's see if we get the right answers. F is 211.73, which is 212. C is 99.9, which is 100, and R is 671. So this is the program that works. Homework 1 final maybe.m. is the one that actually works. All right, so the process of debugging is kind of interesting, but overall, this is the way that we can make it work. The other thing I wanted to show you was this is the email that I sent. I have an email that, and I just said to Dr. Floyd, I sent him my code, and I said I need some help, and so he sent me back this very, very detailed, email telling me how to make that work. Now, the only thing that I was not able to do here was to save this off of the server or the cloud, because I'm using an online version. So I had to just cut and paste my my code and send it to Dr. Floyd that way. I don't think that he prefers it that way. I think he would prefer it if I could send him a working file. But right now I haven't figured that piece of it out. Anyway, now that we've gotten this piece of it done, we've got our process, we've got MATLAB, and I'm going to post this to our class website, and then I'm going to offer a Zoom session for anybody who would like to meet with me to answer questions. But before we do that, I would really like it if you would go to our class web page, our class Moodle page, and make sure that you've watched these videos and that you've read the hint from Dr. Floyd, and that you have MATLAB available to you, whether it's online or on your computer. All right, so I'll send out an email quickly here with a doodle poll to see who would like to meet and what time you'd like to meet. So we'll see you soon. Bye.